Right now, a man your age is lying awake at 3 in the morning and he can't tell you why. In 1975, a man named Ray worked 10 hours at a foundry, came home, ate dinner in silence, and slept like a stone. He never saw a therapist. He never took a pill. He never once said the word stress. And he carried things that would put a man on medication today. A brother lost in Vietnam, a father who never said a kind word, bills that never quite got paid. Now, here's the number that should stop you cold. Today, about 1 in 8 American adults takes an antidepressant. In Ray's day, it was almost 0. The pills barely existed yet. We did not get weaker. Something got taken away from us. Ray had something built into his ordinary day that quietly held him together. And almost no man has it now. This is not about being tough. By the end, you'll know exactly what he had and how to get it back. Let's walk through Ray's Tuesday. Up at 5, black coffee, a drive to the plant in the dark, then 10 hours of real work, lifting, pouring, hauling. By noon, his shirt was soaked through. By the time he clocked out, his body had nothing left. And here's the strange gift in that. A body that tired doesn't lie awake at 3 in the morning running the same worry on a loop. It shuts down. It sleeps. A tired body is the cheapest antidepressant ever made, and we engineered it right out of daily life. Now, most men today sit. We sit in the car, sit at the desk, sit on the couch. Ray's generation moved for a living, and the body that moves all day burns off the thing that eats a man alive when he's still. But the body was only half of it. Here's what most people don't realize. Hard physical work is one of the most powerful things known for a low mood. We know that now from decades of research. Movement does for the brain what no pill can do cleanly. It steadies it. Ray got a full dose of that medicine every day, and nobody called it medicine. They called it a job. In 1970, nearly 1 in 4 American workers made things with their hands. Today, it's about 1 in 12. We didn't just lose the jobs, we lost the daily medicine those jobs came with. Today, most of that is gone, shipped overseas, handed to machines. We traded the foundry for the cubicle, and we didn't just lose the paycheck. We lost the daily dose that kept a man level without him ever knowing it. This is where it gets interesting, because the body was only the first of 4 things Ray had, and the second one was even more powerful. Stop for a second and picture your father's hands, the calluses, the grease he could never quite scrub out, the way he came in the door at night. Tell me one thing your father did with his hands for a living. Just a few words in the comments. I read every single one. And ask yourself this. When did you last finish a day so physically spent you couldn't worry even if you tried? Because the second thing Ray had was other men. Not friends he scheduled. Men who were just there. The crew at the plant. The guys at the lodge. The man 2 stools down at the bar who knew his name. Ray never sat across from someone and talked about his feelings. That would have felt strange to him, but he stood shoulder to shoulder with other men, day after day, and somehow the load got lighter. Men don't heal face to face, they heal side by side, and Ray had that everywhere he went. Quick question. When 2 men fix a car in silence for an hour, who just had therapy and doesn't know it? Both of them. Here's something nobody tells you about how men deal with pain. They don't do it head on, they do it sideways. 2 men under the hood of a car barely talking, and somehow everything gets said. A father and son in a fishing boat, quiet for an hour, closer than they'd ever be across a table. Ray's whole world was built for that. The shop floor, the garage, the church basement, the bowling alley, places where men stood next to each other doing a thing, and the talking just happened in the cracks. He never needed a therapy room because his whole life was full of these side doors. A man could set something down without ever announcing it. But here's what nobody saw coming. Every one of those side doors was about to be quietly bricked over. There was a third thing, and it might be the most important. Ray was needed. Every morning, somebody depended on him. The plant needed his hands. His family needed his check. His buddy needed help moving on Saturday. A man who is needed every single day does not have time to come apart. A man with no one depending on him is the most fragile thing in America. Purpose is not a luxury for a man. It's load-bearing. Take it away and something in him starts to sag. Here's the cruel part. We have spent 50 years trying to make a man's life easier. Less labor, more comfort, fewer demands. And in making it easier, we quietly made it emptier. We took away the weight, and a man needs some weight to stay standing. What happens to a man with nothing left to carry? That's where the story turns dark. The structures didn't collapse all at once. They were pulled out one at a time, and each time we called it progress. The factory closed. The lodge sold its hall. The corner bar became a chain. The church emptied out, and into that empty evening came a screen. First the television, then the computer, then the phone in his pocket. The screen didn't make us lonely by being bad. It made us lonely by being just enough. The screen gave a man everything except the four things that actually held him up. It gave him something to watch, but no one to stand beside. Something to scroll, but nothing to carry. By 2000, the average man was sitting more, moving less, and spending his evenings alone with a glowing rectangle. And right around then, the prescription started climbing, and climbing, and climbing. We didn't get sicker in the head out of nowhere. We got stripped of the things that used to keep us well. Now, let me be very clear about something. This is not an attack on therapy. It is not an attack on medication. For a lot of people, those things save lives, and there is no shame in either one. If you need that help, get it. That's strength, not weakness. But here's the honest question nobody asks. Why do so many of us need it now, when men like Ray, carrying just as much, did not? The answer isn't that they were stronger, it's that they had a system that metabolized the pain before it ever piled up. The work burned it off. The brothers shared it. The purpose outran it. The faith held it. We took all four away, and then acted surprised when the pain had nowhere to go but inward. We medicate today what an entire way of life used to quietly digest. That's not a flaw in you. That's a hole where the structure used to be. Ray worked at that foundry for 31 years. He retired in 1988 with a watch and a handshake. He was not a soft man. He didn't talk about Vietnam or his father or the nights that must have been hard. But he was steady. Right to the end, he was steady. And he was never once alone with it. There was always a man beside him, a task in front of him, a family behind him, a pew on Sunday. He didn't have a therapist. He had a structure. And the structure did the quiet work of keeping a good man whole. When Ray went, the whole plant came to the funeral. Men who hadn't cried in 40 years stood in the back and wiped their eyes. That's the thing about a life built on other men. You're held up by it, even at the very end. Miss even one of these four, and a man starts to wobble. Miss three, and the pills become the only thing holding him up. Here's the full list, so let's name it plainly. The four things Ray had that almost no man has today. 1. A body that moved hard every day, burning off what builds up in a still mind. 2. Other men, close by, shoulder to shoulder, sharing the weight without a word. 3. A purpose, people who needed him every single day, so he never had the time to fall apart. 4. Something bigger than himself, a faith, a flag, a code, a reason the hard days were worth it. That's it. That was the whole prescription, and it came free with an ordinary working life. Here's the part that matters most. Not one of those 4 things is gone forever. Every single one can be rebuilt by hand. You can't reopen the foundry, but you can copy what it gave you. You don't need a therapist 1 hour a week. You need a structure that works on you all week long. The body, you don't need a gym membership. You need to move hard enough, often enough, that your body is tired at night. Walk, lift, build, dig. The brain follows the body, the brothers. Start one standing thing with other men. A garage night, a breakfast, a project, shoulder to shoulder, not face to face. The purpose. Find someone who needs you and show up for them on a schedule. A man with a job to do does not drift. The bigger thing, whatever it is for you. Faith, service, a cause, something that makes the hard day mean something. You don't have to be tough. Ray wasn't tough. He was held. And you can build the same thing that held him with your own 2 hands, starting this week. So, if you're a man who feels the weight today, hear this plainly. It was not your failure. You were handed a world that quietly removed every structure that used to keep men standing, and then told you the problem was you. It was never you. You played by the rules. You worked, you provided, you carried what you were given. Nobody told you that the easy, comfortable, sat-down life they were selling came with a hidden cost. Now you know, and knowing is the whole turn. Because the things that held Ray weren't magic. They were ordinary. A body used hard, a few good men, a reason to get up. Ray would tell you it's not too late. He'd tell you to start small, start this week, and not let it die. We were the sons of men who never needed a therapist because they were never left alone with the weight. That's not a brag about the past. It's a blueprint for right now. Move your body, find your men, be needed, stand for something. 4 things, all of them free, all of them yours to rebuild. The foundry is closed, the lodge is gone, but the things they gave a man, those we can build again, by hand, 1 ordinary week at a time. So tell me, what was the work or the place that kept the men in your family steady? The plant, the farm, the shop, the union hall? 1 answer in the comments, just 1. I read every single one, and I'm right here with you.